Good morning. This video I'm about to do now will show you the answer to the assignments given to you guys last week. So I'm going to use Access to show the assignment, Microsoft Access to show the assignment. So this is Microsoft Access. Now let's create a database name called School Management, and let's create it. So now let's go to the assignment. Now you're given this assignment, and this is a privilege module in one of my web applications I created, right? So you're given this question that based on your understanding of database management system, Figure 1 displayed a web-based user privilege module. Now using a relational database management system, various tables combined to produce the results shown in Figure 1. Now you're asked to extract the tables that were combined to show this result here. So the first thing I will do, you can see the user ID and the username. The first thing I will do is to create a table that will keep record of all the users of the application. So I will go to Microsoft Access here, right? So remember I've already created Microsoft database called the School Management. Microsoft Access database called the School Management. So let me close this one. Let me show you guys how to create tables using Microsoft Access. So you can see this icon, you can see this menu here, create. I'll click on create then table, right? So done this. So I can decide to highlight this and click on design view, or use here and right click and click on design view. So I'll call this table name users. So I will have my username, which should be in a short text data type so that you can take alphanumeric text. So I have my password, I have my email address, I will have my telephone number. And you can choose to add more attributes, right? More attributes or more columns. More attributes or more columns to this table here, right? Like last time I told you guys that the attributes describe the characteristics of a particular table. So this table is called users and these are the attributes. So I'm done with the users table, so I'll close this. So the next table I'll build a table called rows that will keep record of all the rows of the application. So I will go table, then click on design view, then rows. So I have my row name, which should be in short text. Okay, then I'll save this. Let me close it. Now the next table I will have a table called module that will keep record of these modules of my application. So I will click design view, call it modules. Remember, you can see that the ID here is a primary key, and every table have a primary key, right? A unique identifier. So I have my module name, which is the short text. So I'll save this. Or I close it. Okay. Now the next thing I will do, I will create another table that will only assign just one row to a particular user, which I will call that one assign row. Assign row to user, so that will be readable. Assign row to user. Okay, now I will have the user ID here, which will be a foreign key on this table, which will be referencing an ID that is primary key in the users table. So I'll just use a lookup wizard and then click next. This is the user's ID. I'll click next. This is the ID as a primary key in the users table. So I will select it. Ascending order. So I'll click next. Next will be enable data integrity. Do you want to store multiple values for this lookup now? So I will click enter. Okay, the next thing I will do here is to put another foreign key, role ID, which will be looking up to the ID, which is the primary key in the role table. So lookup roles ID. Okay. So I'm done with this one, so I'll close it. Okay, let's go back to this stuff again. So we're done with 4 tables now. So the next table I will do is a table that will keep track of all the modules of the modules assigned to roles, right? Which will have many to many. It means that let's assume that we have 2 roles, super admin and administrator, right? And let's assume that we have these 5 modules on the application, like the users, database, roles, role access, role users, faculties. Now, super admin can be assigned to have access to these roles, to these modules. Administrator can also be assigned to have access to these modules except dashboard. So we need to keep, for instance, except dashboard or except role access. So we need to create a table that will take control of that, that will keep track of the particular role to each of the modules. So no matter the relationship becomes many to many. So we'll create another table, and then we'll call this table, can call it assign modules to roles. So here we have our role ID, which will be looking up to the role. And we have our module ID, which will be looking up to the modules. Okay, now we are done. So this keep track of each of the roles registered to many roles registered to many modules, or many modules registered to many roles. So this keeps track of that. So the last table we have here is the user privilege table. Now, what the user privilege table does, I will explain why it's necessary. We already have a table that keep track of the users per role, right? Which means a user must only be assigned to one role, which Joe Wendy is only a super administrator here, and super administrator have access to do all things on the application. Now, let's say James is also a super administrator. He have access to do all this. And let's say Peter is an instructor, right? So Peter have access to do only the dashboard. Now, the essence of having that table is, even if we have 2 roles assigned to 2 different users, right? They may not have the same privileges. So that's why we have a table that will keep track of the roles assigned to one or many users, but the privileges should be different. But if we do it in a way whereby a stagnant way whereby uh, once a user is super administrator, that means they have access to all these ones. That means it will defeat what we're trying to do here. But what we're trying to do, even if we are in the same role, we may not have the same access. So that's why you need to keep track. We need to have another table called the user privilege table. I'll call it the user privilege table, which I'll call it the user privilege table. User privileges. Let me call it user privileges, right? Okay, now what I will do now, instead of me having the user ID reference here, I will now have the assign role to user, right? Assign role to, I'm just making it readable, right? But normal, I won't do it like this. Assign role to user ID, which now becomes a foreign key here. So it's looking up to the it's looking up to this assign role to user, the ID itself. Then the other one we now assign modules to roles, right? Assign modules to roles ID. So assign modules to role ID. First to role ID. Okay, now then I will now have my insert, which should be in boolean. If there's a boolean, yes, no. Insert update delete and then select. Okay, so now this is why I've already explained why it's important here. Why it's important here is that for each of the role, bring out the register modules for each of the role by users, group by users, right? Assigned to a particular role, bring out all the modules registered, and then the access should be the privileges should be different for each of the users. So now the way I have joined the super administrator is if another person is assigned as a super administrator, let's say Philip is assigned as a super administrator, to bring out Philip, super administrator, this same module and privileges will be different because now you can see that these privileges are all checked. It means that John Wendy can have access to all these modules here. But the privileges may not be checked for Philip, only just few may be checked for Philip, but we are in the same role, but we don't have the same access. So that is the reason for creating this um, that's the reason for creating this table. So it makes our work, it makes the system look simple and more efficient enough to be able to assign privileges to users. So despite we're in the same role, but we can't have the same privileges. So that is the reason for creating these tables. So I think I've done creating all my tables. So just before we go, let's just look at the relationship. So I'll click on database tools, I'll click on relationship. Now you can see the relationship here. uh, Many tables are all related together, and let's just make it simple so that we can be able to see the relationship. Okay, this one is looking up to this one, this one is looking up to this one. Let me put it here. This one is looking up to this guy here, this guy is looking up to this guy, so this guy will look up to this one, this look up to this, then okay. Okay, okay, I think I made it simple enough. Now these are the tables for just user privilege. So you can see that let me explain it again. The users table keep record of all the users, right? Now this role table keep record of all the roles, right? Then this assign role to users keep record of a particular user assigned to a particular role. Now this assign modules to role keep record of all the modules assigned to roles, right? Then this module name keep track of all the modules in the application. Then, then finally this one, it will keep track of it will keep track of the users to keep track of the users and his roles, and then the assign module to now match the modules assigned to a particular role per the users, and then give these privileges insert, update, delete, select. So that particular user in that particular role. So that's why we have this. That's what gives us this, right? I hope you understand it. If you have any question, feel free to ask me. So thank you for the